If you've been watching knife content over the last week, you probably have seen these two knives show up a number of times. The new Altus in aluminum handle, as well as a brand new knife called the Qubit. But really, let's be honest, is this as good as everyone thinks it is? Let's find out. So if you're not familiar, Civivi is a sub-brand of WE knives, and they make things kind of in that mid-range category, between around $30 and about $120, give or take. And their consistency over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years has been pretty insane. So you got to figure they're going to fall down eventually. Did they do that here? Hell no. In fact, I think it's frustrating, to me at least, just how good Civivi is at continuing to outdo themselves year after year. And there is no exception here. These two knives are insane. So let's go through them real quick. So the Altus has been reviewed a number of times. This is a button lock knife with a 3-inch blade and beautiful hollowed out liners. In this case, we have aluminum handle scales, reversible pocket clip, Nitro V blade steel, and truly obscene action. Now, my only regret here is that I don't have an original Altus to compare it to, but if this is the action on the Altus, the original, my goodness, there's a good chance that this was always been the best button lock that Civivi makes, or at least up until now. This is phenomenal. And at 3 inches, it still has enough space for me to get a full 4-fingered grip. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And it does have a full flat grind, which compared to the other options in this exact category from Civivi, gives me a nice variety with the other two 3-inch button locks. So let's bring in probably the most popular blade shape and knife that Civivi has ever made, the Elementum. Now, they updated that with the Elementum 2. They boosted the steel up to Nitro V, and they also added a button lock. Another phenomenal option. And in this case, we have thumb stud, we have flipper tab, we have hollow grind, flat grind. So far, so good. And this comes in a variety of different materials, and they continue to come out with more. Now, all of this is building up to something. The Qubit. People have made some pretty crazy claims about this knife, saying that it is probably the best budget knife out there. It's, you know, the best Civivi ever made, and so on and so forth. What do I think about that? They're right. Simply put, this is the best knife that Civivi has ever made. And you know what it is? It's the thing I didn't ask for, and I'm thankful that they made, because, wow, this is by far the sliciest knife I have seen this company make. Super thin on the stock thickness, and they used the perfect steel for it, 14C28N, which is plenty tough, and also at the 60 to 61 is going to just hold that edge like crazy. And on top of that, they made a 3-inch knife that doesn't skimp on handle real estate. I have large-sized hands, not XL, you know, or anything like that. And if I did have larger hands, I could very easily choke up with plenty of comfort and still have plenty of space to spare. Very few 3-inch blades, 3-inch knives, do this successfully. And the Qubit is hands down one of the best things I have put my hands on in the last, I don't know, couple of months. I have very little to say that's negative about this knife. And I will get to that. But first, let me also, I want to test something. And maybe you guys can compare with me. I think this might be the fastest button lock in existence, meaning that how fast you can deploy the blade. I don't think there's a single knife that's faster than this one. So let's test that. I'm actually going to change the settings on my camera for just a second, and we're going to get some high-speed images. Hold on. And here we go. Check this out. Now, honestly, I don't know. I'm sure there are knives that deploy faster than this one, but it would be a stretch. It really, really would. Now, I don't think that matters to many people, but it's just fun to know that this is like the slickest, fastest knife that Civivi has ever made. I know that's the slickest, fastest knife that I have in my collection from Civivi. There's no question about that. So if that is appealing to you, there you go. There is really only one thing bad I can say about this knife, literally. They even got the reversible pocket clip, which is awesome. My only qualm, and it is like one that will probably make you roll your eyes, is that the handle is too smooth. I know, I'm such a dick. It's wonderful and it feels very comfortable. My concern is that if I'm using this and my hands are wet, it might be a little more slippery than I would like. That is my literal only complaint with this knife. And it's addressed with either more texturing or an inlay, which I love Jared's idea. That is, I never even considered that, but I would happily pay a $10 premium for inlaid textured micarta or something crazy. You know, that would be amazing. And I can't think of a better candidate for a titanium with an inlay than this knife from Civivi. I hope they come out with a premium version, not even changing steel. I love this steel. This steel is phenomenal. Don't change that. Just give me the titanium with a texture. I will buy 3. No lie. In fact, at this point, there are some knives from Civivi, like the Qubit, like the Sokoke, like the Baby Banter, that are so good, I honestly don't need the rest. They're probably never going to get carried, genuinely. Knives like the Nox, honestly, I carried it very, very little. There's a couple others, but it's not that they're bad by any stretch. It's just they keep coming out with banger after banger after banger, and it's just hard to keep up. We're at this weird point in the knife world where you can almost be sure that what you're getting is going to be as good as anything you've had before. That's pretty weird. We're in such a weird state in the knife community right now where so many brands are making so many excellent knives. They've just gotten that formula down to such an extent that your choices are just amazing. And I think the Qubit is going to make waves because of the fact that it is just so insanely slicey. It reminds me of one very specific knife that's made right here in the US, actually a couple of them. But the, what's it called? The TRM Atom. That's the knife that I really think of when I hold the Qubit. It has very similar kind of functionality in mind. Ultra thin slicey blade with a tall profile to maximize that even further, with a very neutral handle so that a lot of different hands can enjoy it. So that's a very good start. And if you're looking for a knife from Civivi, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these. The Baby Banter, the Altus, the Qubit, the Brazen, the Elementum 2. I mean, they're all really, really good. And that's kind of the frustration for me. When Civivi never misses, what the heck are you going to choose? And I'm kind of curious, let me know down in the comments, what's your favorite Civivi, even if you don't own it? And is this going to make your choices even harder? Anyway, thanks again for your time. I appreciate it as always, and we'll talk again soon.